everyone, I am Jaime Masters, and I am so excited to do something a little bit different today. Today, we have my very good friend Jadah Sellner, and I'll gush about her in just a second. She's been a client for new Ownerbox series that we have coming out, and I want to talk to her about it specifically so you guys know what the deal is. So Jadah, business coach, you can check her out at jadahtsellner.com. This is her amazing right hand, Michelle. Thank you guys so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having us.
I love it when we have two. So I was like, I will be quiet. So we're going to start with Jadah. Jadah, you're amazing. You have a multiple six-figure business and you're a friend of mine. So when I call you up and I'm like, hey, I got this new thing, well, can you tell me a little bit about what piqued your interest in it?
Yeah. So, I co-founded a company, Simple Grain Smoothies, with my friend and business partner, Jen Hansard, in 2012. And then I sold and exited that company in 2016. We generated over seven figures in sales with our online digital products. And we had the mission, the values, systems, team, org charts, all of these different things. But then as I transitioned into growing my personal brand business and being a business mentor and online community growth strategist, it was just me. And I really found myself feeling like, well, I already did that. But it's so important to have those essential foundational pieces in your business for each one that you build. And Michelle, my amazing right hand, has been with me for almost 3 years. And, this brand has been a kind of personal side hustle for a couple of years. And this year was really about building those business foundations and having those systems where me and my team are able to communicate clearly and we have clear, repeatable systems that we can do over and over again. And when I saw you post, I was like, me, raising my hand. And I just think you're so brilliant at what you do, how your brain thinks. You think heart and logic, which is so great. So I just knew that I had to take advantage of being a part of this experience and opportunity.
No, that's the thing that sucks so bad is when you know what you have to do because you've done it before and you're like, and how did you actually make it a priority though? I think that's the thing that a lot of people have issues with. They know, they've read the books, they actually know most of the stuff that they have to do, but actually doing it is a totally separate thing. So how did you actually do it?
Yeah. So, it was seeing your post and like, yes, for me, it felt like a gift to my team, to Michelle. Like she is running the show behind the scenes. And I know that it's a little bit chaotic behind the scenes with my ideation brain, and I'm like 99% visionary. So our Trello cards are just really idea boxes for me. They're just like ideas. I'm sure Michelle can agree. And so for me, it was really like, I can kind of live in the chaos and the mess, every now and then I got to clean. I'm the same way at home where it's like, I can live in the mess for just a little bit. Things look organized on the outside, but like deep cleaning behind the scenes is not so clean. So it was really for me, like I know to build a team that is sustainable and happy and taken care of, you actually need clean, predictable systems behind the scenes. And so I looked at it as like, this would be a gift for Michelle. Like she would be so excited. I was like, they're speaking her language and I can't speak this language.
See, I love that you said that too, because that's the biggest thing that I see with my clients, and you probably do too. The visionary are wonderfully crazy, right? So we see things and it's like this, and we don't like to go by the systems, even if they're kind of created a lot of the times, right? So we look to our integrator, our right hand, our admin, our PM, what we call our operator, except we go, here's the cobbled together mess. Go fix it, please, right? So Michelle, this question's for you because you're the one going, oh, thanks, right? And you have to try and understand her definition of done, which sometimes is not all the way, I'm assuming, all the way fleshed out. So Michelle, what were your inclinations, especially because when the business owner comes in and goes, hey, I got a new thing that we should do, right? Great. And it's all for me to do. Thank you so much. What was your inclinations at the beginning? And were you excited? Were you like a little standoffish? Like, oh, great, more stuff that we have to do. Tell me your thoughts.
Kind of. At first I was like, okay. The idea was like awesome, but it was just the thought of, oh my God, we're so busy. Here's something new. We don't really have time for this right now. But when you actually think about what you're getting, and it's kind of like you have to make the time. So there's always going to be that hesitation of, oh, there's a million things to do. I don't have the time to do it, and there will never be a perfect time, and so Jada's like, we're doing this. I'm like, okay, we're doing this, and when I actually looked at it, it was like the holy grail. It was absolutely amazing. It was just so simple and it made sense to me and it actually made me feel calm. So like I was thinking about the experience, like, oh, this is going to be more chaotic. But when I saw everything and how it was laid out, I was like, this is beautiful. This is going to make my life easier. That was
See,
awesome.
what we've found too, and I'm sure you guys have also, that it is like a different language, right? The owner is like, oh, here's all the stuff. And then my operator, Leilani, you guys have met, she's actually downstairs right now. She will send me a detailed list like this. And I look at it and I go, that's a lot. That's a little overwhelming for me, right? Just because the difference between our brains and being able to have somebody give something to you and you go, this is how I wanted it. I wish Jada could have just given that to me, when I started way back when, right? But we don't really have that because we've got, as a business owner, we have so many other priorities. We're 80/20ing everything and cash flow and this and that. So what was that, especially in regards to what we specifically worked on, like the onboarding, the sales? You had pieces of this already, and you're really smart, so you know what to do. So what was the sort of the before and what you actually got out of it, Jada?
Yeah, so the before was, like I said, that chaotic Trello list, where it was just like an ongoing list, and us kind of just really looking at one card to kind of like do all the things. And the after was definitely having these streamlined systems of actual templates, which I love that you did, that you had templates for Asana as well as Trello, and we use Trello. So it was nice to be in something that we were already familiar with, but finding a new way to really use that. Also, with the sales and onboarding, I have one-on-one clients and group coaching programs, and we had some of those SOPs in place for onboarding. So some parts were nice of like, we're on the right track, like we're doing this right because this is a new leg in my business. I've had experience in brick and mortar business and digital e-commerce, but not necessarily coaching. So it was nice to get some validation of like, oh, we're on the right track, or here's a little thing that we could make a tweak and adjustment to. Yeah, so that was a big thing for us. And also what I absolutely loved was us being able to work together and communicate with each other in real time about systems and things. Usually it's just kind of like handing it off and like, you go figure this out. But it actually felt very collaborative and brought us even closer together, I think, in us being able to Slack and be on the phone and going through the trainings together was really gave us a common language, and also permission for us to both just like own who we are and how our brains think and operate. I think that's the biggest thing, is like, oh, I get it on both sides. And I also felt a sense of relief that Michelle could actually have these templates and checklists and roadmaps and Google Docs and all of these things to work from, that are saving her time, creating some sanity. And then I don't feel like I have to create that. Like, it was just nice to have this thing that was already done for us.
I love it. So Michelle, what were your favorite parts too? Because to me, one of the reasons why we put everybody together at the same time is so they can make the decisions that they need to make then, instead of going, I'll make that later, and then never ever comes, right? So Michelle, when you were in it, what were some of your favorite parts going through?
It's definitely the templates. The templates were absolutely amazing. I'm like so excited about that. Because you don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's something there. You can tweak it, you make it sound like you, and it was just amazing. And then I loved, as Jada said, like the real time, like implementation. Because a lot of times, like, we'll just make a card of all these things that we have to do, and it'll sit there. And sometimes it'll be like 2 weeks later, and it's still like sitting on the card. But actually giving us the space and time to say, okay, this is what you're thinking about and doing right now was so valuable, and we actually got a lot of stuff done. So
yeah, you guys were, I was very impressed. They're like, I'm like, this is perfect. This is exactly what we were looking for too, because you actually making the space. And that's the thing that is very difficult for a business owner that is like, I have no space. There is no wiggle room in anything that we do. And so Jada, for you, what would you give for advice for anybody that's listening? Whether they buy this course or not, I don't care, but actually making it a priority. I do care. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I do care, but making it a priority, because what we have a tendency to do is, how how important it is, but it becomes priority number 4. And you're like, well, I have 3 big rocks. And then this one never happens, even though you know it will save you time, but we just don't push it up. So what advice do you have for everyone for that?
Yeah. So my advice, whether you've read books or taken courses, and if you still haven't implemented, is actually to invest in Ownerbox, because what was really powerful was, one, just putting money where I'm saying this is important in my business, and then receiving the scheduled dates. So it's not like this self-study online course or like read books and earmark it and I'll come back to that later, but you're actually guiding us through. So whether it's Ownerbox or something else, is actually being able to put money into it. So you're actually saying this is important, this is a priority, and then being able to actually schedule out that time. So it was very helpful for Michelle and I to both have, these 90-minute to 3-hour blocks scheduled in our calendar, instead of letting everything else, all of the urgent tasks, kind of fill up our days and weeks and things like that. I was like, whoa, okay, so we have 3 hours to work on really foundational pieces that are going to make the business so much efficient later down the line, where we're not having, like, I love what Michelle said, not having to reinvent the wheel, I think is so important. And this is the part that so many business owners, I coach business owners as well, where they get stressed out and feel like everything's chaotic behind the scenes. And I just want to like send them to you to, like, if you want structure and you want systems and you want to feel honored as a creative and a business owner, I feel like this was a great solution.
Thank you so much for that too. I wasn't looking for an amazing go by this, but that was wonderful, because I think that's the thing that's really interesting, is looking at the decisions that we are faced with as a business owner, and we will make the same decision 117 times. Oh, Michelle will go to you. Hey, what about this? Oh yeah, this. Hey, what about this? Oh yeah, you asked me that last week, but we have no system. So now you have to ask me again on this specific nuance, right? And we know getting ahead of the curve will make a huge difference, but it is that commitment. It's the commitment to the goal that counts. So anybody that is listening right now, please commit, whether it's me or somebody else. There's a whole bunch of amazing people out there. Get it done, because you'll save the whole rest of the year, the rest of those little incremental pieces of time, and your sanity. Because you know what? Business owner sanity and right hand operator sanity. Michelle's probably like, yes, my sanity matters too. Thank you so much. So I really, really appreciate you guys' time here. And what's so funny is I was chatting with Leilani about people showing up live for those webinars, and she would be like, how come people don't show up? She was flabbergasted as to why people didn't show up live. I'm like, I know, we make priorities, right? And sometimes it's tough. And when you can actually commit the time and effort to it, it does not take nearly as long as we think it does. And it will save you time in the long run. So I so appreciate your input on all of this. I would love one last sort of, usually on my real show, I ask what's one action listeners can take, of course, besides buying product. What's one thing, Jadah, that you think everybody should do right now in regards to systems this week that will actually sort of change the state of their business so they can walk away with it?
Yeah, so I would put in your calendar a 90-minute time block to actually look at what is something that you repeat consistently in your business right now that doesn't have a Google Doc or some type of written step-by-step piece. And yeah, that would be to just like schedule 90 minutes. I'm going to work on the system, the foundation in my business, and actually look at what's something that I'm repeating over and over again, and then actually dedicate some thinking time as well as implementation time to actually move that forward.
Thank you. They're probably like, no, I don't want to do that. That hurts. But really, it will change the state of your business. Everybody check out JadahSellner.com, because she's amazing. Thank you guys both. And Michelle, thank you for being on camera. Also, usually you're behind the scenes. I so appreciate you both being here.
Incognito, usually.
Right? Running everything. That's how it should be. I'm so glad to give you some shining light too, because we as owners can't do it without our right hands that are amazing also. So thank you both for coming on the show today. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed that with Michelle and Jadah. Real talk. And if you haven't already, put that in your 90-minute calendar schedule to actually look at what you have. Or you could also just watch the replay of the webinar that I just did, which was pretty much exactly that. I didn't even tell her to say that. We go through an entire checklist of what a business should have, what the core systems should be, and what the extra ones should be. So you can actually have a checklist of which ones you have, which ones need to be updated, updated and which ones are completely done. So you can feel either really good checking off a ton of done ones, or you can be like, got some stuff to work on, but we'll help you prioritize them in that webinar. You can check that out at eventualmillionaire.com/webinar. So make time for that. And if you've already watched the webinar, make sure you check out ownerbox.com because we end on May 10th. Deadline for the last closing of this beta launch for you guys only. Listeners, please let me know if you have any questions at all, because I want to help you as much as humanly possible put these systems on the forefront so your future self can thank you later. You already know what you need to do. Let's whip you into shape so you can actually do it. Go to ownerbox.com before May 10th and sign up today, or let us know if you have any questions. Hope you have a fantastic day. Take care.